It's the Refreshed Cast. I'm Aaron Sawyer.
Matt Michaels.
And today we're talking about weed.
Man, giving up the cannabis, man.
Smoke weed every day.
Is it medicinal or is it poison, man? No, it's both.
It's both.
It depends
man.
how you use it.
It's and I'm one of those weed smokers that whenever I'm smoking weed, I'm fucking smoking weed, dude, and I can't stop, and I will gas the fuck out, and I will go until I have a mental breakdown on Thanksgiving and yell at my wife, and then realize that I need to go sober. And now I'm about tomorrow will be officially 1 month without cannabis.
Man, congratulations, bro. I'm right behind you. I'm at that 2-week mark again. I never make it past it. I am this time, though.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, man, I've been on that marijuana maintenance program since I got clean and sober off of all the hard drugs. And, you know, basically I've been using cannabis for 21 years straight to maintain some level of what I perceive to be normalcy in my life. And it's crazy to think how dependent I've been on it. And, you know, they say it's not addictive. And yeah, I've been able to kick dope. I've been able to kick Xanax, alcohol, anything that I've been hooked on. But the hardest thing for me to get off of has been cannabis by far. So whoever says it's not addictive, I guess it just depends on the person, or you didn't smoke enough. I don't know.
Dude, have you ever thought about like how much, like if you add up all of the weed that you've ever smoked, probably like an insane amount of weed.
Like a monetary amount?
Bruh.
Yeah. Dude.
I mean, dude, so one thing that I learned with cannabis was, I mean, like in my detox process, I mean, dude, I probably coughed up 2 to 3 pounds of mucus, like pounds. And like going through that, like that's why I understand now whenever you're detox, you get flu-like symptoms.
Yep.
And it's like, holy shit, dude, I was shivering. I was fucking shaking. And we're going to talk about some of these detox symptoms coming up. But it's like, oh my God. I also realized there's other toxins that come into the lungs.
Oh, yeah, totally.
In the body, not just the smoke. It's like a bunch of other microorganisms.
Well, man, and think of like the molds that are growing on it, the fungus, the pesticides. Man, it's modern marijuana, bro, is Franken weed. That's Franken buds. It's not natural. There's nothing natural about it, and it's really messing people up for sure.
99%. I mean, like Paul Chek had a great podcast on cannabis and like the sunlight grown, you know, just like some vibrant, loving woman like caring for this weed. Yeah, that's like 0.5% of all marijuana.
Yeah, I don't know if that's any at the dispensaries typically. You know?
No, fuck no, dude. At the dispensaries is like some dude just spraying shit with fucking like fentanyl.
Fentanyl.
Yeah, Frankenweed is a great term.
Yeah, man, it's like so typically all the marijuana that was smoked before would be 1 to 3% THC. We're smoking this GMO cannabis, these Northern Lights with 30% THC. We're smoking vape pens with 90% THC. And the fact is that we don't even know the impact that's having on the brain. And any of the studies that have been done on medicinal benefits are not testing with 90% THC vape pens, man. There's nothing medicinal about it. You're just getting fucking steam wrecked, dude.
And, you know, I gotta give it up for our generation. The fact that we are even functioning on 90% THC, like one of the things that we're gonna talk about is the psychosis aspect of it, right? Or like the permanent. Bro, I was so high up in the etheric realms for so many years, you know, using that as an excuse to be like, oh, well, it's helping me make music or whatever. And it's like the fact that I was able to function at all with this strong of weed, I feel like a fucking psychedelic space warrior. Now that I'm not high, I can get anything done because it's like, bro, I was on a rocket ship for a decade, you know?
Man, I feel that on a deep level. I was like, I've been building a business, actually working on myself tremendously, learning how to communicate all while being incredibly high way too often. You know what I mean? And so I'm really excited to see what we can accomplish when we cut that out of our lives and we're 100% putting our time and effort into the same amount of time and effort we're putting into getting high. So it's going to be awesome.
Why do you think, like, because, you know, the marijuana maintenance is a real thing and like, you know, I'd say 50% of our listeners are weed smokers, you know, and like that's no dig to them. We've probably smoked weed with half of our listeners, you know. Um, and I don't want people to take that personally because it does provide that cushion or whatever if you're getting off of hard shit, and it has its medicinal properties, especially if it's grown in sunlight by someone who actually cares and gives a fuck and it's not just trying to sell a zip or whatever. But like, what was your main, let's go back to the beginning, what was your main reason for smoking weed, bro?
Man, I in reality, or what I perceived it to be, so
Whoa.
you know, I thought it was helping with my depression and my anxiety and my mental health, but I see now that it was creating a lot of those issues. And in reality, I was using it to suppress all these parts of me that I did not like. I've always been told that I'm too intense. I feel things very intensely, and I wanted to suppress the negative feelings, or the feelings that I perceived as being negative. And what I've learned is that that was also suppressing my strengths, and the level of sensitivity I have is my superpower. That is how I can help people. I can feel what everybody feels, and I feel everything intensely. And so by suppressing those emotions, I'm really suppressing my gifts and my talents as well. And I'm really seeing that now, you know. But what about you?
Dude, I think I suppressed my intelligence because I remember feeling like so nerdy all of the time, and it would be this way for me to, I remember before I even smoked weed, I would like pretend to be this dumb pothead, you know, so
I
I
can
could
relate to that.
fit in and get acceptance. And like, I
Yeah.
can definitely relate to the whole, I'm too intense. Fuck you mean I'm too intense? It's like, do you not want to succeed and become a multi-millionaire yogi rapper farmer guru in this band? Like, what do you mean I'm too intense? That's why I ran every woman away except for my wife, because like no one could match my crazy.
Totally.
You know? And
Totally.
I would also say that a major part of it, like, it started with that acceptance, then it became this emotional coping mechanism, and then it became this thing, you know, with my career as an artist, to just get through the day or to get to the next song, or like, man, I can perform as much as I possibly can or as much as I need to, hundreds of shows in the year, so long as I got that joint in my mouth.
Yeah, I feel that. And, you know, it's interesting that I got into cannabis in high school, you know, my first year in public school from Christian school. So I just found all the drugs, and I didn't fit in at school. I got bullied and went from like small little Christian schools to a huge public school with 2,000 kids in my grade. And like, I found connection through smoking cannabis and doing drugs. And so I've always felt like it's what brings me connection. But it's quite apparent now that it creates disconnection. We'll talk about that more later. But I feel more disconnected from people when I smoke. Like, I don't know, you know how awkward you feel when you're like trying to do business while you're high, or you're trying to work when you're high. You're like, you're just not at your highest self by any means. You're just like clouded and just dumber in general. At least I'll speak for myself.
Yeah, my perspective, I'm like, man, I hope they don't realize that I feel retarded right now. Because this is not I hope they don't know that I'm fucking blitzed.
Yeah,
you know?
man. Yeah,
I hope that didn't sound dumb, and just like constantly overanalyzing
second guessing
your
yourself,
actions.
man. Yeah, we're like going down these rabbit holes of like everything that I'm doing. Like, you get too high on accident, and you're just like really putting yourself down, and how horrible of a person you are, and how horrible you're doing at life, and you're a horrible partner, and you're a horrible business person, you're a horrible whatever you're working on in life. And that will come up often. And if you think about, your thoughts create your reality, and if you're high all the time, and so half your thoughts are degrading yourself, like, what kind of reality are you creating because of this relationship with this plant that you're abusing, you know?
Yeah, and it comes from that abusive relationship.
Yes.
Because like all of those intrusive thoughts, it's almost like now that I'm about 30 days sober from cannabis, it's like I don't have as much energetic interference. I don't have to, like, the fact that I was able to accomplish what I've accomplished so far at 26 while constantly fighting this negativity and self-doubt from this coping mechanism is cool in and of itself. And so like finding out who I really am whenever I'm off of it, I kind of had the opposite experience. I would use it because being an artist is such a spotlight type of environment. It's all about social networks and shit like that, and just like politicking and you know, presentation and shit. And since I stopped smoking, dude, I'm fucking not talking to nobody. You know, so you're like, oh man, I actually like really, and it just goes to show that you're gonna have different people are gonna have different symptoms and different effects whenever they stop. Because I'm like, oh shit, I've been giving so much energy to people that I didn't need to be giving.
Interesting.
You know, and it was all from this false, you know, like substance. Like, it wasn't my true energy. I was just gassed out. It was the caffeine and the cannabis.
I've seen a huge shift in your energy since you quit. You take up less space, like in a positive way. You know what I mean? And so I think that's cool that you're holding your energy in more and going more inward. And yeah, for me, it was the opposite. Like when I smoke, I isolate. I don't respond to people. I don't respond to text messages or phone calls. Like, unless they're clients, I don't respond. And I just find myself like, it's just me and Mary Jane alone all the time. It's a party in my mind, but I'm separated from everybody else. And yeah, man, so it's been, you know, I quit for 2 weeks, started back up for 2 weeks, and now it's been another 2 weeks. And like, this past 2 weeks, I've been hanging out with people like every night, doing like circling and just hanging out with people in men's group, hanging out with people from the men's group. And man, it's been really filling me up. And so I thought I was such an introvert, but I am but I'm way less of an introvert than I thought I was, for sure.
Plot twist, Matt's a social butterfly.
Man.
And you know, it's kind of like whenever you sober up, whatever energy you've been suppressing is gonna come out in sometimes healthy ways, sometimes absurd ways, you know, which we'll get to the irritability and big shout out to our wives for dealing with our shit and this detox. 100. Dude, I couldn't imagine doing it alone. Like, for people that are gonna do it alone, like, I'm sending mad love to you, because that is a major shift, and it's always good to have someone to hold you down, like someone to call. But yeah, like, the energy, from what I'm reflecting back, is like the energy you were repressing was the social butterfly energy, and the energy that I was repressing was the hermit. You know, because I was like, oh man, it would basically be like, man, I don't want to fucking talk to anybody right now. Let me just, okay, what's up? You know what I mean?
So it made you more social.
Yeah, because it numbed me out because I was bulldozing my actual feelings and emotions for so long. Because I didn't want to do fucking anything that I was doing. I didn't want to pop out for 200 shows in a year. That's ridiculous, you know? And then now it's in this clear-headed space, is giving me an opportunity to say, what do I really want? What do I really feel? What am I really thinking about this? You know, what are my true thoughts and opinions? I'm just coming back to them.
Yeah, I hear, like, you're getting back into your body to understand what you're truly feeling and desiring. And, you know, I suppressed the social side, but really, when I talk about suppressing intensity, it would be like anger, rage, you know? In the past, I would always pick it back up, because whoever I was with at the time, and like as in relationships, would be like, just go back to smoking weed, man. Like, you're too much. Like, you can't control your emotions. And I really have seen that as I come off of it. Yeah, the irritability, I got the short fuse, the anger comes out. And when I smoke, I'm very passive. Like, I'm so chill. I just think I'm so chill, man. Like, it's all good, bro. But really, I'm just suppressing my true feelings. And again, that passion inside of me, that intensity, is my strength. That's what's going to get things done. That's what's going to go out there and accomplish the big goals and the dreams and aspirations that I have. And so it's would make more sense, rather than suppressing them, learn how to actually deal with those and alchemize it into something that's going to help me prosper and create the life that I want. And I know that you were talking about the irritability and stuff like that. So what was your experience with that?
Bro, it's so gnarly whenever you're coming back into your body and you're realizing just how much anger you're suppressing. And then it was kind of like, you know, anger is masking despair, or so they say. And so I would go through these major swings between anger and despair, and anger and despair. And each day was different. There were days where I just had to let myself sleep. I kind of you know, if you're thinking about detoxing off of cannabis, like, it was important for me to set the stage and let people know. Like, I was sending emails out to clients I'd work from, like, look, I'm going to get you the word, but I want you to know, like, I'm kind of fucked up right now. You know, it's just be real. Like, the party's over. The train has come to an end. There's no more shows this year. I'm gassed out, y'all. And I need to let myself have this ego death. And so the irritability was intense at first. Like, the first few days, you're like, man, maybe I could just hit the gym all the time and get this anger out. And it's like, no, that wave is going to come and you're just going to get pissed off. And it was so important for me to let myself feel my anger. And like, me and my wife had an agreement as well. Like, she knew what I was going through. She was very proud of me. And like, it just is insane to me that there's like a woman in this world that will just let me be a dick for like an unallotted amount of time until I get my shit together. And she's like after I had that fucking emotional breakdown on Thanksgiving, I was like, and she woke up with me the next day, I'm like, she still wants to be with me? This is insane. This is dope. You know, don't take that for granted. Yeah. The scariest thing though, Matt, is letting that fire die, because diving into that pit of despair where I didn't want to do anything, I didn't want to eat anything, I just wanted to lay in bed and just fucking, I could feel the headache of my neurons rewiring. You know, like we had that episode on neuroplasticity, episode 15, check it out. And that was the scariest part to me, because I felt hopeless, and I've written maybe 2 songs in the last 6 weeks, and I'm always writing music. So like, to have not written anything was super scary, you know, because it was like I had to let that unnatural fire die. I had to let the butane fire die so I could, and then beyond that, find that internal fire and find a big enough reason to start rekindling that fire within myself.
Yeah, man, what I hear from that too is like, you know, when you're smoking all the time, you're constantly releasing this dopamine. And so when you have that dopamine fire, you have all this creativity and this drive, so it's easier to be creative and write when you're in that state, when you're doing it all the time, obviously. And then when you don't have it, you're just shut down. And that's kind of what I've been experiencing too. It's like, I feel fatigued. I feel demotivated. You know, the dopamine is the motivational neurotransmitter. So when you're not getting that, all of a sudden your body's used to getting this synthetic flooding of dopamine all the time. You just end up like, man, I don't feel like doing anything. And it's going to take, they say it takes like 30 to 90 days to rebalance the dopamine. So you're coming up to 30 days and I already see a big change in you, and God only knows what you're going to look like in another 60 days, bro. It's going to be fire. And same for me, man. Like I haven't started to rebalance the dopamine yet. So I'm just allowing myself to chill. And same thing, man. I've had to cancel clients a couple times, and that feels horrible to me, but also like you're not going to come into this healing energy when I am not in a place to be working with you, you know? So sometimes you got to take care of you. So I'm proud of you for doing that. And I was talking to Callan, and it's like oftentimes I end up with these crazy insomnia where I can't sleep at all. And that's where I break, because I got responsibilities. I got clients to work with, so I have to be able to sleep and be there for them. And this time it's just like, no, that excuse isn't going anymore. Like, if I got to call off a day so that I can sleep, so that I can get okay, so I can get on the other side of this, all in all, that's going to be more beneficial for myself, my clients, my family, my friends, everything that I'm trying to do in life. So it's important that we put ourselves first in that way, get off the shit so that we can be the best versions of ourselves.
So gnarly being like having to let yourself crash and burn, you know, and like but it's so beautiful too, because it's like I'm actually able to feel these deep emotions that I've been pushing off for so long. Like, let me actually feel how hopeless I've secretly felt for so fucking long. Let me actually feel how pissed off I am. And like, you'll notice whenever you're not stoned that like you tolerate shit differently. You're like this shit is unacceptable. Yeah. You're like whoa. You know, and it's like Rebel's like, damn, there's an actual like man in the house. Not a direct quote, but that's the vibe. I'm like,
I feel that.
You know, and I will say I see that changing you too. Like I can tell, like your eyes get more blue. You know, they're
The
just like,
whites of my eyes are
yeah.
actually
And
white.
dude, it's such a superpower because it's like I'm here. Like, and I think about the whatever shows and battles I'm doing in 2025 is gonna be like, I see everything. You can't get past me. Like a lot of ways that people get fucked over in business or in the entertainment industry is they get fed a bunch of drinks and they pop a pill and then they don't remember what they did and they fucking signed a contract. You know what I mean? And so like just to and I think the keynote part of that is the underlying theme of awareness. You know, like there is more awareness available to you. And that's a beautiful gift, the gift of awareness and not trying to run
And
from
I
the
heard
shit.
you mention too, like the more masculine energy. You know, cannabis is such a feminine energy, and so it makes you more passive. You're just like okay with things. You're more content with things, whether they're exactly the way you want them or not. And that can be a beautiful thing, but not if you have big dreams and aspirations and things that you're trying to create. And I believe, you know, this might be sexist or misogynist, but I think that most women want a masculine man in the house that makes them feel safe and secure, taken care of.
Fucking sexist.
I know, bro. I'm a sexist pig, dude. I just love women so much, and I want the best for them. You know?
Feminine men.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the feminine men are the most untrustworthy because that's that sneaky, sly energy, and yeah.
Or just passive and passive aggressive and not being open and authentic and real about how they really feel. So yeah, I'm curious, man, like physical symptoms. What were the most drastic physical symptoms that you experienced coming off of everything?
Definitely it was two things. The pounds of mucus, like probably I clocked in 2 to 3 pounds of just like
Did you have like
constantly.
pretty much cold flu symptoms
Yeah,
come on?
bro, and there was also like this felt like this stomach bug. Thank God for enemas. I'm so glad I met you, dog. like because had I not, I would have relapsed had I not had that bucket of water and baking soda and sea salt. Like I remember one of the gnarliest days whenever I wanted to relapse on cannabis and also porn, but we'll talk about that in another episode. Like instead of doing the caffeine cannabis combo, which whenever you do it, you feel this ping in your gut. Like whenever you drink the coffee and smoke the weed, like I'll notice it because I feel like it gets digested or it gets broken down in your gut biome, like everything does, right? And so whenever I quit, it was like week 2. Whenever it was like my body was like, oh, he's serious about it. Like he's really not smoking anymore. Let's get this shit the fuck up out of him, you know? And it just felt like this alien baby was in my stomach, and I just developed these chills and muscle aches and coughs. And I remember doing 2 back-to-back baking soda and sea salt enemas, and then a castor oil flush, you know. I'm just like, and then a sweat lodge the next day, and I just like had to let myself like let the old me die. And so I'm curious, what was your main reason why you wanted to get off the cannabis?
Man, the main reason I want to get up to cannabis is because I've basically noticed that I peaked this year about with what I can achieve with the way that I've been living my life. So I've changed so much over the past decade, everything about my life, and my life is really beautiful right now. I love what I do for a living. I love my relationship. I love the community that I've built. I love all the internal work that I've done, and I just realized like I've peaked at my financial success. I've peaked at the success of my business while I'm still being this person. And so if I want to grow and expand who I am in all these other ways, then I'm going to have to change. And the only thing that still exists from my old life is the marijuana. It's the only thing that still has its grip on me from the life that I used to live. And who I want to be and what I want to achieve, it's just not in the picture anymore. You know, and I had a similar revelation with other plant medicines this year, like with psilocybin or any psychedelic. I've done them a lot. I've abused them. I've done them ceremonially. And it just really hit me this year that I'm done with all that stuff. I'm already aware. I'm already awake. I know what my purpose is. I know what I'm here for. I know what I'm doing. So I'm just getting high. I'm just doing fucking drugs. And that's just the truth for me. And so I'm not trying to condemn the use of marijuana or condemn the use of plant medicines for other people. I think that some people, they do need it to have that awakening and to get to know themselves and to know God. But I've already done that. So I'm just getting high. And none of that is serving me. And I'm using up all of this energy that could go towards creation. And I'm using it for these experiences instead. And I've already had the experiences. Now I want to create rather than just having these experiences, Mm-hmm. And honestly, man, I haven't done so because it's going to sound weird because like I've gone through withdrawals for Xanax and with heroin or Oxycontin, and I've been scared to go through the withdrawals of marijuana, through the insomnia, through all the sweats and everything like that. And I just haven't been able to power through it. And I can relate with the gut stuff. You don't have any hunger, and it's like, you stop producing your own cannabinoids, and that messes up your nervous system, which is your digestive system, and all of these things. But the primary reason, bro, is because I have too big of dreams and aspirations to keep smoking weed. And, like, props to the rappers that smoke weed all the time and sell their souls. But, like, I'm not willing to sell my soul, and I can't do the work necessary to get to where I want to go while still smoking weed. And that's just the truth.
Yeah, bro, like, that was a big part of what influenced me to smoke, was that quintessential, idolization of the rapper smoking a joint, fucking writing a song, like making it look cool, And so a big influence for my why was like we were talking off pod, and I was like, wait, why, I had this realization, why am I smoking weed and I'm not even rich yet? And it's like, wait a second, I'm smoking weed and I'm broke. Mm-hmm. Fuck, and like, on one hand, like, nothing makes you want to smoke weed more than being broke, but it's also like a terrible fucking idea.
It's true.
And like, I think that there's so much power in the rawness of your emotions, and like, same thing, like, if I was a guy that could just smoke every new moon or full moon and just leave it at that, then that might be an effective way to enter that world and exit that world. But I don't have that self-control yet. And I might never have that self-control because I'm an all-in and all-out kind of guy. So the biggest why for me was like hitting that state of like, I can't keep living like this. I think I've maxed out on my potential. Like, being the rapper with his shit together, like the most responsible rapper is like being like the fucking most clean junkie. It's like the most organized junkie in the fucking field, you know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, if y'all thought I was dangerous and a hard worker and, super brilliant whenever I was blitzed out of my mind, just imagine what I can do when I'm fully here, fully aware and present, and like, I'm in the same boat as you, bro. I have such big dreams. I can't just clock in and clock out to the same job for 40 years. It's not me. I'm here to make a movement and impact people, and the capacity of influence that I'll be able to have will be limited if I'm fucked up, and I want to be able to look someone in their beautiful eyes and be like, I see you, and I'm not running from nothing. And if you're running from something, I can help you quit running. Because whenever you're smoking, like, it's almost like you're constantly in fight or flight. Everything I did became a form of running. It was always just this next scroll, what pleasure food, because you're just constantly in this state of looking for the dopamine hit. So whenever you let that shit go and you just like, give me the suffering, I want to create a new relationship with the suffering of life. And allow, it kind of like allows this form of grace to enter into your life, I've noticed.
Yeah, that's good, man. You mentioned on like that you're not one of those guys that can just do it every once in a while, ceremonially. I hear people say that a lot, and I'm like, props to you, man. I've been saying for the past 2 years, I'm trying to smoke Imbalance, and I have failed to do so. It's always like, I quit, and then it's like, once a week, twice a week. Well, just nights. Okay, well, as long as I'm not seeing clients, I'll smoke, you know, and that's just always how it ends up. And like you said, it's that dopamine seeking behavior. And so you're releasing this dopamine all the time. And then you don't have much drive to go after and accomplish the long-term goals that you have to accomplish, because like it takes a lot of tasks that you don't want to do, and you don't have the dopamine to drive to do those things, you know? And so we want that short-term gratification, and it ends up like you're scrolling looking for dopamine. You end up looking at females for dopamine. You're doing anything other than what needs to be done for dopamine. And like, we need to stop finding shortcuts and actually work towards long-term dopamine that we've earned, rather than cheating for it. And I'm tired of cheating in my life, and it's time to do the damn work consistently. And I think that that's the whole thing with the THC induced psychosis. That's something new that I learned about. Honestly, when I first heard about it, I was like, that's fucking stupid. But when I started reading about it, it's exactly what my life was. One week I'm good. Next week I'm overwhelmed, and I'm like going through it, and I just like can't get anything done. I just feel like paralyzed and trapped and almost like paranoid about shit. Like, my life is beautiful. Everything is perfect. But in my mind, everything is a disaster and a mess, and everything is crashing. And that is the psychosis from the constant use of THC. And
I wish that motherfucker was gonna run up on me, bro. If I'm being fairly transparent, every time I got out of the car, I'm like, I'm getting jumped. And I've never been jumped in my life. So it's like I totally relate.
It's interesting.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm curious if... I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm also curious, man.
Oh, yeah, I knew what I was going to say. I was going to ask about, like, if you had any crazy dreams, because I've been reading about how, like, whenever you quit marijuana, you start having these crazy dreams, because all of these suppressed thoughts and emotions, because basically when you sleep and you dream, that's your subconscious cycling through everything from the day. And so when we smoke every single day and all night, we don't dream. So our subconscious doesn't start to filter that stuff out. So you start having these crazy dreams. And I noticed some people have a lot of dreams that make them incredibly sad, because they're using marijuana to suppress sadness. For me, my dreams come out incredibly violent and bloody and just insane, because I'm typically suppressing my anger and my rage. Mm-hmm. So it's been interesting to see how the dreams or the subconscious emotions that I suppress come out in my dreams. And I'm curious what that experience has been like for you.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's one of those... Okay, so are your dreams mostly violent, or will they hop from violent to something else?
They've been violent, or lately, like last night, bro, I was like fighting this giant spider, and then it stabbed me with the stinger, and I woke up right when it stabbed me. But just incredibly vivid and real, or like, I've been having a lot where I can't tell if I'm asleep or awake, because I wake up a lot at night because I'm not smoking, but sometimes I'm like, did I wake up or was I dreaming? Like, I remember I woke up in my dream, and I went and grabbed my laptop, and I was watching something, and then I woke up from that, so that didn't happen, and just like weird stuff. Like, I can't tell if I'm awake or asleep, but mostly the dreams are violent.
Great question too, bro, because like, you know, about a year and a half ago, I started dream journaling, and I could tell whenever I was smoking versus when I was not smoking, because whenever I was...
Do you dream while you smoke?
Fuck no, dude.
Oh, okay.
Barely.
Okay.
You know, and then I definitely don't have the energy or the wherewithal and so, but my moon is in Pisces, so I'm very connected to the dream world, and over the last year and a half I've been writing my dreams down, so I'm very good at remembering them when I am sober. It's one of my favorite things, like good, bad, whatever. It's a blessing to be able to remember your dreams. And my boy Hyatt gave me the tip to ask ChatGPT to psychoanalyze after that. So I've been consistently psychoanalyzing my dreams for the last 2 to 3 months. All of them have to do with balancing boundaries within relationships, vices, and suppressed anger. So like, mind you, I quit coffee, porn, and weed all at the same time. So like, whenever my dreams coming back, whenever I'm in that flu-stricken state and having those detox symptoms, like, dog, I had like 4 wet dreams in one night. And so like, yeah, I'm like I'm like fucking chicks, you know, with my wife, without my wife. I'm shooting people. I'm but it's all in very vivid detail, and I remember it. And so I write it down, and I'm realizing that those dreams are my subconscious figuring out my own self-expression, you know, and the way that I connect with people, you know. I will say that the sexual dreams have gone down a lot since I've balanced that part of my brain out. There's a lot more camaraderie between me and the women in my dreams now, not just like, I mean, sometimes, you know, it's go crazy, but like, I'm such a dreamer that I'll go from, you know, getting head with Rebel watching to like sniping some dude to like receiving some infinite wisdom download about my dreams and goals from some ancient monk. And then I'm looking at these big ass GMO fish from this sushi, and then this guy just fucking strangles himself with a hose. And then I wake up and I'm like, okay, I write it down. Okay, so I had a dream, I got some head, I shot some people, someone got strangled with a hose, and there was some GMO fish, and all my dreams came true. Can you psychoanalyze that for me? And so like, I would say to actually make that productive and not just me like mental masturbation. There is immense power in your dreams, and whatever your dreams are, write them down and ask ChatGPT to psychoanalyze them, because that spider represents something. You know, like the time of day, the mood, the color, the feeling, that it all represents something. And so it's like your subconscious kicking back online, and it'll give you some amazing information. And there's no past, present, or future in the subconscious world, so it'll give you some game and basically predict your future if you're being aware.
Nice. Yeah, I dig that, man. I'm super proud of you, bro. I see you the most grounded that I've ever seen you, man. And kicking all three of those at the same time, man. It's like I've kicked them individually in the past, and like just have this one to really focus on. Although typically when I quit, I'll go back to like drinking caffeine or smoking nicotine to help me get through that, or dopamine seeking behavior, looking for women or on Instagram or whatever. And I've really made it a point, and actually you really inspired me to do that. Like this time I'm not replacing, I'm not medicating that. Like I'm all in. You know, Michael comes around, I'm not asking him to smoke his nicotine little pre-roll cigarettes. Like I'm not doing any of it. I'm not doing the nicotine, all of it. I'm not doing caffeine. So I want to say thank you for inspiring me to go deeper with that. And I'm looking forward to a sober, productive, successful 2025.
Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to new lights. No, like I really appreciate that, bro, because like it's almost fucking embarrassing seeing how ungrounded I was before, and like how I might have come off to people. And so just this is definitely a season of recalibration for us. Where am I really at? What do I really want? And I think 2025 is gonna be major, bro. So and you know, to all the cannabis smoking people out there, you know, we're on your team. Like we're all on this healing journey together, and it took us, you know, a combined 31 years to even get to where we could stop smoking weed for 2 weeks in a row. So don't beat yourself up if you can't stop, but just take those steps and become more aware, and you'll be amazed at what you can do with your life, bro.
Definitely. I want to follow that up with, there's no like guilt, shame, or condemnation if you do smoke or if you do any of those things. It's not really about that. It's just about your own personal decision. And so marijuana helped me so much. It helped me get off of all the hard drugs. I was able to build a life for myself that I'm proud of. It's just that I feel like I have outgrown its benefits, and it's creating more problems than it's solving for me at this point in time, but that wasn't always the case. So it's a case-by-case basis, and you got to do what's best for you. But we're just sharing our own personal experience. I don't hear any shame about it. We're not demonizing it, saying it's wrong. I'm grateful for its presence that it had in my life and the value that it brought to me at one point in time. It's just not bringing that value anymore.
Hey, let's get our first fucking comment on YouTube, huh? Someone comment. Someone comment on our video.
Yeah, you can comment about how the light keeps going out, you know. So.
Yeah, dude. I mean, comment your experience with marijuana, and I think that'd be dope. So, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.